Hello and welcome to live match reaction here on the Rangers Rabble. My name is Martin Douglas and tonight I am joined by William Irwin, Scott Kennedy and Greg Campbell. Gentlemen, good evening.
Evening.
Good evening to you.
Are we all happy? All happy with that?
I think it's been a good Sunday.
Hey, listen, just before we start, obviously, before the game it got announced that Philip Hollander had tested positive for COVID, and William, obviously it goes without saying that we all wish him a speedy recovery and we just hope it's not too serious.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously we've been very fortunate so far that none of our players up until today had tested positive, so it was always going to happen at some point. It's obviously you just worry about players, you know, because you've seen it in different parts of the world where some players can take a lot longer to come back, you know, depending on how much it physically takes out of them. So hopefully Philip's back sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. Right, so gents, let's just jump straight into the game. Scott, 4-0, a decent performance, 7 changes. What did you make it?
To be expected. I think I expected us to win. I'm always a little bit apprehensive about these cup ties away from home, particularly when you end up making 7 or 8 changes to the side. That's when slip-ups can happen. I thought we were pretty disjointed, to be honest. It wasn't our fluid best. Didn't expect it to be. Lots of positives to take from it. Getting minutes into the legs of the guys that don't ordinarily play. Did some good stuff. Scored some good goals. Bit sloppy at the back. Do you know what? If woke up this morning with the results that have happened today, the game today, take it. Thank you very much. Move on.
What about yourself, Greg? You know, plenty of rotation, some players that we haven't seen much of, and again, it's all you need to take it. It's all relative. It's Falkirk, you know, League One, but 4-0, dodgy pitch, through to the next round. Happy days.
Aye, that's it. I think that's all you look for in these kind of cup games as well. Is just Scott was saying there about changes and stuff, just to kind of get through the game, but kind of lack injuries and stuff, and just kind of get the 3 points. It was good to see Zungu get his first start as well. It was not too bad. He was kind of swinging the passes as well, but I think he's hopefully get used to the Scottish game. He was a bit slow in midfield at times, but hopefully he'll kind of get used to games. I don't think Itten took his chance right enough. I know kind of speaking about him earlier on, but I think a couple of chances he really had to take today, which was frustrating, but hopefully a bit more game time for him as well. But no, overall, pretty solid. Aye, and a comfortable win.
Right, before we carry on, anybody watching, get your comments in. I'll try my best to read them out, and we'll try and obviously talk back and forth to people watching. But Cedric Itten, I don't really want to talk on negatives to what has been actually quite a good Sunday. I actually thought personally that he played quite well. He had a few chances that he maybe should have took, but his all-round play was quite promising.
Well, I think I've made it clear throughout. You see, I'm a big fan of Cedric. I think he's a good footballer. I think it's just a matter of time before he gets a run of games and scores goals and does a lot more. I think it's just unfortunate, you know, at the moment, you know, with Alfredo playing well and obviously Kamar Roos been playing really well. It's difficult, you know, he's probably not got the amount of games that he would have liked, but he's also settling into a new environment after leaving Switzerland. So you've got to kind of take it all, but the manager's probably looking after him a wee bit, giving him a bit of time to settle in. But any time he's come on the pitch or he started games, I've always felt he's looked good. You know, he's got a good touch for a big man. He gets himself in good positions. He was unlucky with the one that the goalkeeper saved. It fell to Bassey for the goal. You know what? I think you've also got to accept it was a hell of a lot of changes tonight. You know, that team probably hasn't played together, possibly maybe not even in training kind of thing. So it's really difficult for players to just come in, you know, so many changes and we expect them to just hit the ground running kind of thing.
Well, what's your opinion then, Scott, on Cedric? And actually, in fact, if we can take it back to the first person, Greg mentioned Zungu. Obviously, the start of the game, the Scottish game's obviously really quick and it took him a while to find his feet, but you can see the quality that he does possess.
I agree with what Willie just said there. I like him. I think he's a big guy. I think he's got masses of potential, massive aerial threat. Really unlucky not to get on the score sheet, but you know, it's like a really old cliche that you talk about a striker that score goals that does nothing else. They've got a massive problem because they don't contribute anything else to the team when they stop scoring. If you can get on the front foot and you're contributing to a team performance, the goals will follow. I remember watching when Morelos first signed, and he looked like a guy that had never scored a goal before. Even when he was scoring, like in front of goal, he just panicked. No, he doesn't. I think Itten's going through the same thing. I actually think Hadji is going through the same thing as well. It's a case of trying really, really hard to impress and probably snatching at things that ordinarily last season, when in a comfortable environment, he wouldn't have done. But now he's in a new environment, new situation, trying too hard. I think the only thing that will help him relax more is time and become more familiar with his teammates. Touching on Zungu, encouraged. I was a little bit apprehensive because, he came in to the team against Hamilton at home, and we won that game 8-0. That was really, really. It was a walk in the park. I mean, I think I could have come on the pitch and played the same game. That
You're not playing right back.
Huh?
Well, you're not playing right back. No?
Got my goal. That's 14. But I thought he was actually caught on the ball a couple of times, and I don't think he expected Falkirk, a second division team, to actually come out and then front and be right in Rangers' face. I don't think he expected that, and whether that's a communication thing, coaching staff telling him, right, okay, you've got to be like really on this. And I thought he was actually quite sloppy in possessions, but in equal measures, I thought he was really, really good in possession. It was what you'd expect of a cup tie on a crap surface for a guy that's been thrust into the team, who's barely had any minutes. So I think he did all right.
Greg, that's a major point. The fact that we were playing on one of those plastic pitches, in my opinion, I understand why clubs need them. The revenue that comes with able to hire out the stadium and stuff, but I absolutely hate them.
Oh, I'm the same. The initial thought is just somebody's going to get injured. And I think that happened. Was it Jamie Murphy who was kind of just starting off, and he got injured, and it was out for months and months and months. I just think teams, especially in the top league, should have the kind of grass, the proper surface to play on. I think it just affects the kind of watch as well. The kind of ball bouncing about all over the place, and you're not really getting a good flow of possession, and teams can't actually play the way they want to play. But hopefully, to say, it's just all boils down to money and stuff like that as well for these teams to actually afford the real proper surface. But no, really, it's just thankfully nobody gets seriously injured today, because you're always fearing that somebody could win goals and actually went down at the end there and stuff as well. You're kind of thinking, oh, here we go, somebody has picked up an injury at the end. But no, glad we kind of came through without any serious issues.
Well, I'm glad you're just disregarding Barker there, but anyway.
One run done.
But listen, this has started out quite negative, and I don't want it to start out negative, because our closest rivals get pumped today, and a big mention as well for Stephen Kelly. I thought he was fantastic. But I need to bring up Hadji. He's been mentioned a wee bit. This was a big chance, I think, today for him, put in a decent performance, get back to the performances that we know that he can produce. And tell me if I'm being too harsh, but I just don't think it worked out for him today.
Yeah, look, I don't really kind of worry too much, if I'm totally honest. I just think, Giannis is another one of these young guys that has came with a big reputation. He obviously moved to Belgium with a big reputation. It didn't work out from there. He had a good spell with us when he joined on loan. He just needs to be going through a bit of a tough spell at the moment, but I don't see it anything to worry about. I think purely he's a talented young footballer, and it's just sometimes you've got to kind of look after guys and protect them a bit, because sometimes like the media scrutiny that he probably gets back home is higher than anybody else because of who his dad is. And I think it's just like sort of.
Sorry, Willie. Breaking news. The draw has been made, and before you all quickly look at it, it's actually one. The draw I didn't want was Hibs away. We've got St Mirren away. So first thoughts on that, Scott?
Game. Tough game. I mean, that's a crap pitch as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, let's be honest. Without being disrespectful, I think we should be going into every game and winning. And I don't see. Yeah, get through that one.
Aye, I suppose. Look, Greg, we could have had Hibs away. I actually don't think there's many other teams in there really that we're going to really have a trouble as. Obviously, I think it was St Mirren that put out Aberdeen, Ross County pumped Celtic. So St Mirren away, can't really complain.
No, that's a good tie. Scott was saying there, it was Rangers. You expect to go to these grounds and be able to kind of pick up win, playing your best. Even last season we went there, it was at Barisic. It took a late goal to score the winner, but we've come on miles and miles since then as well. So I think it will not be a problem. It's an improvements there. I think someone will just make it hard, and it's a tricky wee ground to go to, but I think our quality will be enough to win comfortably. Aye.
Wally, St Mirren.
Sorry, I lost you there.
I know. I think it's actually Scott/Lizzie's Zoom that does it. But Wally, St Mirren away for you.
Yeah, look, I'm quite happy with that. I mean, at the end of the day, when you get to this stage of the competition, it doesn't really matter who you play. You know, you just feel confident that you're going to get through. Of course, maybe some people would maybe like, you know, like an Alloa or maybe like a lesser team. But look, at the end of the day, St Mirren will be a good game. But at the moment, we're playing with a lot of confidence. I mean, today, even though we didn't play that well, you know, we got maybe a 4-0 win. So I'm sure there'll be a stronger team out, you could say, against St Mirren in the next round. But I still feel very confident. The team's playing well. We're scoring goals. We're not conceding many. So, yeah, look, it's all positive for me.
Right, so back to the game then, Scott. The first goal, it's something that we're probably going to see quite a lot of, that long Goldson pass. But the finish, Defoe, was class. But playing a wee bit of devil's advocate, should the keeper have done better?
I think you're being really harsh there. I think
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I think you're being harsh on the keeper. I think you're being harsh on Defoe, because if you actually look at the situation, if you're a goalkeeper and that ball's coming over the top, you're kind of expecting your defender to get on the end of it, clear it, or at least get something on it. So it's like a three-stage approach for the goalkeeper. But what you've got to appreciate is once the ball's played, it's done. We've seen time and time again, you expect the defender to get on the end of it. The defender doesn't, the attacker misses the opportunity. Defoe's movement, he gives himself time by peeling away. He knows the flight of the ball, he's trusting the flight of the ball. And then that finish, first time, just brilliant. Right in the bottom corner, across the goal. I think Premier Sport, I thought the camera angle watching the game today was absolutely dire. What they did do, they showed a replay of the goal, and you could see the keeper's gone to his near post, which you would expect him to cover, but there's absolutely no way that you could expect, as a goalkeeper, to be beaten by the ball going right into the very, very far corner. He must have thought I was going wide. I mean, it was just an absolutely sensational finish. And it was, brilliant. Loved it.
And to be fair, Greg, it's something that we've come to expect from Defoe.
Yes, as I say, he showed that throughout his whole career. Every team he's been at and stuff, like with Spurs and like Sunderland and stuff like that, it's just his instinct is to know where the goal is. As Scott was saying there, at the flight of the ball as well, always he knows where to be in the box, and he's anticipating as well. Like if maybe as a shot going in, the keeper saves it, he's there for the rebound. He always just knows where to be, and his link-up play is great. And just his movement, he kind of dropped deep a lot as well, so he's kind of aware of letting other players in behind and stuff as well. But he's just even like 38 he is now, I think, and he just feels as if he's just starting his career the way he's still going. He just feels as if he's got legs in it to continually go. And I think he'll play a major part if Rangers are to be successful and just continue on with games. This kind of games like that when you're really maybe needing goals and stuff. He's just great to watch. So yeah, he's a wonderful player.
That was going to be my next question, Wally. How important could Jermaine Defoe be this season, especially in the later stages?
Yeah, look, I think it's great to have somebody that can score the goals that Jermaine does. I mean, that goal that he scored, that was not an easy goal to score. You know, that ball's coming over his leg, he's having to get the right angle, he's having to shoot across the goalkeeper. It's a really good finish, but he makes so many finishes look so easy. You know, it was that one in the league where I think was it Tav, was it, that played the long ball to him and he took it first time? I mean, not many strikers can do what Defoe does. So, you know, it's definitely a great thing to have Jermaine there, and by all accounts, he's great with the academy strikers as well. He takes time out to help these guys when he can. Also, I think with COVID that's probably slightly changed, but by all accounts, he's a great pro that looks after people and will try and pass on his experience to others.
And the second goal, Greg, I was delighted actually. Corner comes in, Hinton probably should score, but it falls for Bassey. And I must admit, I love this guy. I think he's an absolute tank, and I think he's going to be a phenomenal player. But I was delighted that he got the goal.
Oh, definitely. It was great. As you say there, Hinton was really unlucky. It was a good save with the keeper, but I think I just kind of showed his overall performance. Bassey, just how cool and composed he was. He was just in the kind of right areas, and nothing seems to faze him. So he was obviously a layup for the goal. Good finish, and then, but even kind of balls coming over the top, because with Falkirk been quite attacking, he just seemed to do the no nonsense stuff. Nothing too smart, nothing too fancy. Just if he needs to play it out, he did. And just as you say, he's just so strong. He can drive forward, he can win the ball back, he can set up attacks. He just looks as if he's going to be another great addition as well. But no, it was a good finish, a great reaction. It's good that you can have defenders in there that can react quickly.
So many different people scoring goals as well. And Scott, obviously the third goal, now you mentioned it before, the camera angle was dreadful, but Borna Barisic free kick, I couldn't tell actually if it went top corner or if it went more towards the middle of the goal simply because of the camera angle. But again, big Borna steps up 3-0.
Yeah, it's a carbon copy of the goal against St Mirren last season. It actually got me thinking, right? We know Barisic has this quality. I sometimes think that our gamesmanship is we're probably too nice, right? Mm-hmm. Because we know how good Tav can be at set pieces, Barisic at set pieces. We don't seem to win an awful lot of free kicks in these areas to give these guys opportunities to, particularly Barisic, because he's simply sensational. His technique is just wonderful. Like his body positioning, the way he strikes the ball, strikes with that much pace, curl. I mean, a wall keeper, it doesn't matter. If he gets it right, it's going in. But we don't seem to win or play to win set pieces. I know it's probably not in the spirit of the game, but see, when you want to win football matches, I don't really give a toss if it's in the spirit or not. But it just got me thinking. I was like, how many opportunities does Barisic have? Bearing in mind how many minutes he plays of those types of free kicks this season, I think it's probably 2. I think that's his second real opportunity.
I suppose when we're playing the way we're playing, we don't really need to create them. And I can just see in my camera, I'm really trying to blank out that Christmas tree that my missus made me put up, by the way. So for anybody watching, I apologise. The Christmas tree's up and it's still November, right? Please don't comment with any of your sarky comments. But Willie,
it's supposed to go up today. I've put mine up today. It's the fourth Sunday before Christmas.
I put mine up last week, right? It's ridiculous. But anyway, Willie, sticking with Barisic again for the 4th goal, and something that we do see all the time is one full back setting up the other. Fantastic cross, and player of the season so far, Tav, with a superb finish.
Yeah, look, that's what the 2 full-backs are in the team to do. They're there to be aggressive and get high up the pitch. And for me, Barisic's delivery into the box is just phenomenal. The pick out is brilliant. Tav's just... I don't know if I'll get any more words for Tav this season, to be honest. Some of the things that he continues to do are just ridiculous. Why is he in there in the 6-yard box? And then the finish is just so composed. He gets his leg over the top of the ball and smashes it by the goalkeeper. And obviously moments after that, he comes off and gets replaced by Leon King, which, is a special moment for the kid as well. But look, for Tav, I hope this is Tav's season. I hope this is the season that he gets to lift silverware as the captain of the club, because he deserves it after everything he's been through.
Exactly. But let's focus in just a wee bit on some individual players. And Scott, Greg Stewart came on. We obviously not long left in the game, and I feel a bit for Greg Stewart, but I mean, is this the kind of only minutes that he's really going to get? Because he's not been in the team much. It's his first time he's came on the pitch.
Sadly,
I think so. I think he's it's a shame, because when he first came, I thought he was really promising, and you seen him when he was at Dundee and stuff like that. He was a player that really impressed me. He was kind of box to box and making the runs, and scoring goals and kind of reminded me of like a bit of like Scott Arfield type of player that just really went about the box and getting the kind of shots away. But I just think there's better quality in the midfield now as well. I think that's his problem. I think he's just not maybe at the kind of level that the way Arfield is and Jack and even still Davis. So I think it'll just be maybe kind of a couple of minutes. I don't think he's even going to come on if I'm maybe needing somebody to come on and really make an impact. I can see it just being maybe when we're a few goals ahead that he might come on, which is a shame. But I think
there you go. There's the first live name change on the stream. There you go. What about yourself, Scott?
Yeah, I don't see him playing much of a part. I think he's living the dream. I'm hoping he's happy. And I think when you're a footballer and you're watching the team go through the kind of transition, or I'm hoping towards the end of the transition that the team is going through, he kind of appreciates the situation that he's in, where he's got to be right at the top of his game to even get a sniff at the first team, and he's been given a chance, and he's been given a disjointed chance. But I don't see him being a part of the squad when it's crunch time. I think it's. I know he's a Rangers fan, so I want him to succeed. I want everyone at the club to succeed. But in the other respect, there's no room for passengers, not anymore.
No, and listen, just before I come to Kieran Dixon and Leon King, who I know that Wally Irwin's desperate to talk about, Greg, I want to come back to you first and just talk about Glenn Middleton. Obviously, he was in the team, then he got put down to the reserves. He's been brought back into the team. I think Rangers are looking to change his position to left wing back. But when he came on, he was rather quiet as well.
He didn't offer much. Frustrating as well, because when he did get a run in the team, I thought he was really good. He had a really quite direct and just wanted to take on defenders, and I think at the time that's what we really needed. But I think with him it became just a one-trick pony, whereas defenders were maybe kind of sensing what he was doing, so he was maybe just running down and trying to knock the ball by him, but it wasn't really working. And then just, I think, kind of fell away from there. I think that was just kind of lack of consistency, I think, with him as well. I think he just probably better maybe using them out in loan more or something like that, or maybe bring them on as a sub more often and kind of get them more used to that way. But I don't think he was kind of good enough to maybe start games. But I definitely think there's potential in him. I definitely think he can be a player for Rangers, just if he kind of does get more game time and more confidence in himself.
It's the Aidan McGeady effect, isn't it? But listen, Wally, talk to me about Kieran Dixon, Leon King, both coming on, especially Leon King, 16, who I actually thought was a centre-back, but turns out he can also play right-back.
Yeah, look, I mean, Leon is a centre-back, but I think it's probably just one of those ones where if you put him out at right-back, he's maybe not going to get quite the amount of attacks against me as you would at centre-back, because possibly we could start barraging the ball into the centre-halves. I think, Steven Gerrard's just playing smart on that front. But look, Leon's a very special talent. He's still only 16, not 17 for another month or so, I think it is. So it shows you what the club think of him, that they've given him his debut at 16. For Kieran, yet again, so Kieran's worked really hard the last couple of years. He's obviously been in training with the first team recently. He was part of the squad for the European squad. And now he's come on for his debut today. And, he's one of those kids that he's got a great attitude. He works really hard. He's tenacious in the tackle. He can get forward and score goals. And I think, again, it's another thing that shows the pathway into the first team. It's something that, your boy here, like sort of Craig Mulholland, talk about a lot, that it's important that we do have a pathway for the young lads to step up from the academy into the first team. And we've seen that today. Hopefully it's only the beginning for both of those young lads, and because both of them are certainly good enough. And obviously earlier on in the day, Stephen Kelly playing his part for Ross County. It's, it bodes well for the future. I've always raved about Stephen, probably to everybody that I speak to. So I really hope that next season is Stephen's season in a Rangers jersey.
And I have to say, Scott, all the guys that came on, all the subs, that Kieran Dixon really did impress me. I thought he looked as if he could slot into that team, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough last season. Remember the Colts went on that run in the Canucks. I went well, I'm in London. I went up to Solihull and watched him play Solihull Moors, and he really stood out. I think him, Kennedy and Patterson, like especially stood out. Funny enough, Aerosquesto did as well, but I said about him the better. I love his tenacity, and I think he's got a bit of bite about him. He's got that. I wouldn't say arrogance, but it's like he's got a streak of nastiness about him that playing against older people and bigger people doesn't faze him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important because it's really easy for a kid to jump up to an adult environment and get swamped and get lost, no matter how good you are, unless you're willing to go, hey, here I am.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to disappear. I think he's definitely got something about him, and I definitely like watching him. I mean, Willie mentioned Stephen Kelly, and yeah, I'm pinning my hopes on him. I mean, I've watched him play. I watched him for A United last season, and he just seems to me, I would get him in and get him working as closely as possible with Stephen Davis, because I just see so many similarities about their play, especially how Stephen Davis has evolved his game. I think, yeah, if you're ever going to pick someone for Stephen Kelly to learn off, it's got to be Stephen Davis.
Absolutely. So, Greg, after everything that's happened today, the results that have happened today, it's obviously more beneficial for us what's happened, but it also just adds, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, tell me if I'm wrong, adds that little bit of pressure now to Gerrard that, you know, we have to win this now, this cup.
I think so. I think automatically that is the reaction probably from most fans that knew that we're favourites. Celtic are out, so it's got to be your cup. But personally, I'm still kind of in the mind frame that you've just got to take each game as it comes. I know you're kind of favourites and other teams in the cup now especially are not as good as us, but like, you've got to just take each game as at a time. You can't get too carried away and go, it's Ross County and it's St Mirren and all that, just kind of smaller teams, because as we can see that, and as Rangers fans have been through for many years now, that there's been shocks all over the place and things haven't been great. So I think it's just concentrating ourselves, keep consistent. It's all right to have a laugh about kind of Celtic and what's going on there as well, but I think you just don't want things to kind of come back and haunt you. And I think it's just important to focus on ourselves and just a game at a time, and then focus on the next round after the next round. And I think that's the best way to kind of look at it. But first reactions today was right enough. Oh yes, this is really your chance to win. And you do get carried a wee bit. You try and bring yourself back and you go, right, no, that's just St Mirren's the next game. If you get through that, then the next round, concentrate on that. Aye.
Well, that is the case. Anything can happen in a one-off game, right? But listen, we're a Rangers show, so 99 times out of 100 we speak about Rangers. But Willie, your gut reaction to what happened today? Do you think that our rivals across the city will have a new manager shortly?
It's always hard to answer that because I haven't seen that many of the games, to be honest. But obviously, just looking at result-wise, you would probably expect so. But it's not easy to just go out there and get somebody. I think that's the one thing we found over the period.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of went from manager a couple of times, and it's not necessarily worked out right for us. They might end up getting back to somebody that's tried and trusted. Strachan's obviously got a job at Dundee, but I'm sure he would happily walk back to Celtic Park if it came to it, or Park, whatever you want to call it, to take the job. I think they'll want an experienced person to come in and get the team going again. But at the end of the day, that's at least our worries. We just want to keep kind of churning out the wins game after game after game. We've also got a huge European game during the week. That's our next kind of port of call, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
And just final last word to you, Scott. I mean, if we're being brutally honest with ourselves, I mean, this season couldn't have went any better if you had got a Rangers supporter to sit down and write out exactly what happened.
So far, so good. That's it. I mean, yeah, we're sitting in a cup. We've got a little finger on the cup. Nothing more, because there's still 7 other teams in the cup and they've all got a little finger on it as well. But obviously the big elephant in the room is gone. The league, very, very cautious. We might be 11 points ahead on paper, but they've still got 2 games in hand. Win those and they're 5 points behind. And everyone here knows how quickly that can change. I think for any younger bears watching, nothing is ever won in November, December. I think we can. There's the old saying in golf: "Don't grin until you're in." And we're far from anywhere close to that yet. Europe, fantastic. Again, we're on the cusp of qualification. So in terms of hitting targets that we set ourselves at the start of the year, we're on the cusp of achieving, winning a cup, qualifying to the knockout stages in Europe. And we're doing that in a very comfortable, controlled manner. And I think that's what's pleasing about the situation. Going into every single game with the expectation of how we're going to play, how we're going to approach the game. It's with utter professionalism, utter respect to the team that we're playing, because we do our research, we know how they're going to play, and then we know how they're going to attack us. And that's all through preparation and the hard work from everyone involved in the club. So as long as we can continue on this path, and we're certain to hit a few bumps on the way, and we take those with humility and confidence that we go into them and hit them with, and we come out of them, I think we're going to do well.
Right, well, gents, that'll do us there, because as you can probably tell just by looking in Willie's glasses, he's already watching his NFL. For anybody watching for the first time, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Many thanks to William, Scott and Greg. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We will be back on Wednesday for our preview show for the Standard Liège game. So until then, thank you very much for watching, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Yes.